Deep inside a complex underground cave system, 3 divers were making an orderly exit, but suddenly the last diver vanished. His teammates waited for a while before he finally returned. Yet, after swimming only a few more meters, he disappeared again. The others had no choice but to stop and wait once more. A short time later, he rejoined them with a grin on his face. The 3 continued following the guideline toward the exit. Then, without warning, he vanished yet again. His teammates could only wait helplessly. But this time, even as their air supply was running dangerously low, he never came back. Where did he go? What happened to him? No one knew. And this is the story of the Steenkampfontein cave diving incident in South Africa. Sterkfontein Caves is located in South Africa's Gauteng province. The site became world famous after the discovery of numerous early human fossils. The cave is a classic karst cave system. Over countless years, underground water gradually dissolved the surrounding rock, forming a maze of interconnected underwater passages. As the groundwater level later receded, parts of the cave emerged above the surface, creating an ideal environment for early humans to live and survive. On the morning of September 29, 1984, 3 South African cave divers arrived at the cave. At exactly 10 a.m., they entered the water. The team consisted of Peter Verhoef, Nuno Gomez, and Malcolm. All 3 held cave diving certifications issued by the South African Cave Diving Association. They carried professional diving equipment, and their goal was to measure the actual length of the underwater cave system. The entire dive was planned to last no more than 90 minutes. A few days earlier, Nuno had already explored the cave and pre-laid a guideline inside the tunnel. The water depth here was no more than 5 meters, so the mission was not considered particularly difficult. The team soon reached a chamber around 120 meters inside the cave. Above the chamber was a natural air pocket. After taking a short break there, the 3 divers began their return journey. But on the way back, a series of strange events suddenly unfolded. As they passed through a particularly complex section of tunnel, Peter, who was swimming at the rear, suddenly vanished. Realizing something was wrong, the others stopped and waited in place. A short while later, Peter reappeared. Nuno warned him not to separate from the team, and told him to keep hold of the guideline. The group continued forward, but after only a few more meters, Peter disappeared again. This time, it took quite a while before he returned. Nuno was furious, scolding him for ignoring instructions, and asking if he had a death wish. Peter said nothing in response. After Peter wandered off twice, the team became far more cautious. But to their shock, not far from the cave entrance, Peter vanished once again. Nuno and Malcolm could only remain where they were and wait, assuming he would soon return like before. They repeatedly flashed their dive lights as signals, but received no response. 15 minutes later, they began searching along the guideline, but because Peter had stirred up large amounts of silt, visibility in the water instantly collapsed. Following the guideline back for nearly 30 meters, they still found no trace of him. With their air supply running dangerously low, the 2 men were ultimately forced to turn back. The moment they surfaced, they immediately contacted the authorities for help. That afternoon, police arrived at the cave and launched a rescue operation. But the water had become extremely muddy, with visibility reduced to less than 1 meter. The rescue divers could only grope their way forward along the guideline, yet they still could not find any trace of Peter Verhoef. With visibility collapsing to near zero, the team could barely even maintain their sense of direction. The police eventually called off the search and declared that Peter had no chance of survival. Nuno Gomez urgently tried to explain that there were several air pockets inside the cave. Peter might still be alive, waiting for rescue in one of those chambers. If the search was abandoned now, his chances of survival would become almost non-existent. But the police refused to listen to Nuno's warnings. They even prohibited the divers from continuing the search themselves. Soon after, the entire cave was sealed off, and the rescue operation was officially terminated. But where exactly did Peter Verhoef go? After separating from the team for the 3rd time, he wandered through a maze of side passages deep inside the cave. It's possible he had discovered ancient fossils, becoming so fascinated that he completely lost track of time. But when he finally tried to return, he could no longer find the way out. Inside the narrow tunnels, he swam back and forth in panic, yet every route seemed to lead nowhere. Because of his growing fear, his breathing rate increased dramatically, causing his gas supply to run out far faster than expected. At that moment, he accidentally discovered an air chamber. Realizing he did not have much air left, he surfaced into the chamber and decided to wait there for his teammates to rescue him. But after a long time passed, and no one came, Peter had no choice but to search upward for another way out. Unfortunately, most of the dry cave passages were dead ends. After repeatedly searching the tunnels with no success, he finally gave up. With no food, no fresh water, and no supplies, his physical strength rapidly faded. In the end, his only option was to remain where he was, waiting and hoping that a rescue team would eventually arrive. For the next 6 weeks, the police conducted only limited inspections near the cave entrance, and every search ended with nothing. 6 weeks later, the authorities finally lifted the blockade around the cave. They believed Peter Verhoef was already dead, and saw no point in continuing the rescue effort. Even so, they still prohibited anyone from re-entering the underwater sections. Unable to search underwater, Nuno Gomez and the others began exploring the upper dry passages of the cave instead. During the search, they discovered a narrow tunnel buried beneath rocks and thick mud. The passage appeared to connect to the underground river system, but it was so tight that the team spent several days digging and clearing debris before they could enter. Not long after moving inside, they discovered multiple human footprints. Following the footprints deeper into the cave, they finally found Peter's body near the water. He was emaciated. His diving equipment lay scattered beside him. The autopsy later confirmed that Peter had died from prolonged starvation and hypothermia. There were no signs of external injuries or drowning. Based on the condition of the body, investigators estimated that he survived for around 21 days after becoming trapped. During those 21 days, he survived only on fresh water from inside the cave. His weight dropped from 73 kilograms to just 54 kilograms. Beside Peter's body, written in the sand, Nuno found his final message: "I love you, Shirley and Mom." Shirley was the wife he had married only 2 months earlier. The root cause of this tragedy was Peter separating from his team without permission, placing himself in extreme danger, and ultimately costing him his life. At the same time, the police misjudged the rescue situation, missing the critical window in which he still could have been saved. That mistake turned a survivable accident into a full tragedy. In environments this dangerous, people must never test the limits of safety, because sometimes, even the smallest mistake can lead to irreversible consequences.